Deadpool and Wolverine, the long-anticipated buddy comedy flick and the third of the Deadpool trilogy. How does this one fare up against the previous movies, and does it put everyone's favorite X-Men to good use? Let's find out in our spoiler-free review of Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'll just get this off my chest right off the bat. I'm not a huge fan of Ryan Reynolds' brand of comedy. I think it comes across more cheesy and trying too hard to be edgy rather than funny in some parts. Don't get me wrong though, he's not a bad actor by any means, and is actually the perfect person to play a role like Deadpool. But as a gripe separate from the movie, I think he just looks that he selects very much a same character in every movie situation. With that in mind, he plays his typical role as Deadpool, a crass, fourth wall breaking anti-hero that keeps the audience thoroughly entertained by his crazy antics and interactions with all the characters. Deadpool and Wolverine follows Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, as he's offered a place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe by the Time Variance Authority, but instead recruits a variant of Wolverine to save his universe from extinction. This is the most basic way of summarizing the plot, and showcases perfectly the fourth wall breaking style that has persisted throughout all the Deadpool movies, so much that the plot itself is jabbing at the very cinematic universe it's associated with. The beginning starts off with a bang, and then it gets more grounded throughout, especially as it backtracks a bit. So let's kick off the first category, the acting. The movie is definitely packed to the brim with so many different characters and actors, some known and some not. Apart from our main protagonist, overall everyone holds it down, from Matthew Macfadyen, known for his role as Tom Wambsgans from Succession as Mr. Paradox, to Emma Corrin as the villain. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have great chemistry together, with Jackman holding it down as usual. The dynamic between Wolverine and Deadpool is exactly what you would come to expect when a hard-laced and serious character is matched with an immature and talkative character like Deadpool. We get the classic dynamic of hatred through oil and water. Their tension drags through the film through frequent hilarious insults and physical fights. It's entertaining and fun seeing these two opposites interact with each other, and Jackman's performance as Wolverine never gets old. This isn't really a spoiler since it's literally in the title, but as you can imagine, the two work together throughout and ended up being quite the team until the explosive end of the movie. In terms of Deadpool himself, I did feel like some of the breaking the fourth wall moments became a bit redundant and forced in some moments. At certain parts it works brilliantly and makes for very entertaining moments that will stay with you long after the movie ends. As with everything Deadpool, his jokes and speech are rapid fire and witty throughout, so props to the writers, including Ryan Reynolds in that. They kept it fresh and creative throughout, minus some of the forced, more cheesy jokes, which you are bound to run into some of those in the runtime. I must admit, where I did say earlier that Ryan Reynolds' brand of comedy is not really my personal cup of tea, he is the perfect role for Deadpool and encapsulates the character well overall. Speaking of breaking the fourth wall, one of the biggest parts of the movie, as I'm sure you've already heard or seen by now, are the cameos. There are a plethora of different cameos, some of which are extremely surprising and act as the perfect fan service and fan bait. The big part of the story involves this idea of the multiverse and the different timelines and characters that are available within them. It creates a multipath of different characters, past and present, some forgotten and some not. Since we're dealing with Disney as the creators of the R-rated journey, the IPs that are available are vast, and it's shown in full effect. There are plenty of actors that will catch you by surprise, along with characters in the same vein of the different universes that they are in. The cameos were fun, and the work as fan service for most of it. There were several cameos throughout that seemed a bit forced though, almost like the movie was bragging to have certain people or characters at their disposal. Even still though, it made the movie widely unpredictable and fun to wonder who was going to pop up on the screen next. Another big staple of Deadpool and pretty much all superhero movies is the action. So how does this one fare up against the other Deadpools? I'd say very well. Overall, the action sequences use pretty good tricks like freezing frames, slow motion, one takes, and everything you'd come to expect from Deadpool and superhero movies in general. The choreography is very good as well, especially when Wolverine and Deadpool are slashing and fighting each other. There's a great drawn out fight sequence between the two of them in the second half of the movie that is a bloody great sequence, quite literally, and a memorable one at that. The effects are really good as well, although if I am nitpicking, There was some moments where the VFX looked a little too animated and video game-like in the movements, but they're pretty few and far between. Overall, the movie looks really good. There's an awesome one-take type sequence at the end. It's definitely one of the highlights of the movie and creates for an extremely memorable and fun scene. The choreography is amazing, and overall the pacing of the movie is fast and well crafted to keep the audience entertained throughout without being redundant in the many cases. Just really entertaining and fun cinema to say the least. In terms of the ending and the third act of the movie, I did think there was some inconsistencies and things that really didn't make that much sense when you think about them. This isn't really a spoiler, but I was wondering why the villain of the movie, or at least the main one, didn't just flat out kill our main protagonist. She had every opportunity and reason to do so. I'm not a huge fan when villains are written to be extremely powerful and strong, but fail to use their abilities to stop the only people who can beat them and never seem to put them to good use. I thought Cassandra Nova was a bit of a bland villain. Yes, she had interesting powers, but doesn't really do all that much, and for the reasons above, she is just a little lackluster. Although I will say that Emma Corrin does do a pretty decent job, all things considered. Additionally, the ending is a bit predictable and cliche, but I can't hate on that in terms of a blockbuster. When it comes to superhero movies and Disney movies in general, there is a certain resolution I've come to expect time and time again. It's not wrong or bad by any means, but at the end of the day, it leaves you feeling entertained, and that's all I can really ask for a movie. Just take me on a journey, and this one has laughs, the action, it's just overall a fun ride. So all in all, Deadpool and Wolverine does deliver on exactly what you'd expect. If you're a fan of Deadpool 1 or 2, or even the X-Men in general, you'll find this really enjoyable and just really have a great time with it without question. If those movies really aren't your cup of tea or you don't really find it that funny, then this one isn't going to be for you. I found it to be really entertaining and action-packed, a blockbuster throughout, but one that does push the boundaries in terms of superheroes and how far they're willing to go with the R rating, especially since that's few and far between for Marvel movies. It isn't perfect by any means, but overall extremely fun and I had a great time. I give Deadpool and Wolverine a very solid 8.5 breaks of the fourth wall out of 10. If you watched Deadpool and Wolverine, let me know below what you thought of it and whether or not you agree or disagree with us. If you made it this far, I'd highly recommend clicking that subscribe button and notifications to stay up to date with our latest reviews and entertaining videos just like this one. Your support is always appreciated. Thank you so much for watching and catch you on the next video.